I stared at the text message, my hands trembling against the hospital bed rails. "We need you. Answer immediately." I didn't respond. I couldn't. Not after everything. Let me back up. My name is Olivia Chen, and 3 days ago, I collapsed during my master's thesis defense at the University of Toronto. One moment I was presenting years of research on sustainable urban development, the next I was on the floor, seizures racking my body while my professors called 911. The paramedics asked for my emergency contacts. I gave them my parents' numbers, both of them. My mother, Patricia. My father, David. They called 16 times before finally reaching my mother. "We'll be there soon," she promised the nurse. They never came. Instead, while I was being rushed into emergency surgery for a brain hemorrhage, my younger brother Ethan posted on Instagram. I didn't see it until later, but my best friend Jade screenshot it for me. The photo showed my entire family, mom, dad, and Ethan, raising champagne glasses on a yacht in the Bahamas. The caption read, "Finally got the whole fam together. No distractions, no drama, just us. Number family first, number Bahamas bliss, number living our best life. No distractions." That's what I was to them, a distraction. The only person who showed up at Toronto General Hospital was my grandfather, my dad's father, Robert Chen. He was 82 years old and had driven 3 hours from his home in Ottawa the moment he heard. When I woke up from surgery, groggy and confused, his weathered hand was holding mine. "Olivia," he said softly, "I'm here. You're going to be okay." "Where's Mom?" I whispered. "Where's Dad?" The look on his face told me everything I needed to know. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand how I ended up here, you need to know the whole story. I grew up in Richmond Hill, a suburb north of Toronto. On the surface, we looked like the perfect family. My father owned a successful commercial real estate firm. My mother was a stay-at-home mom who volunteered at the country club. We lived in a 5-bedroom house with a pool. But inside that house, there was a clear hierarchy. At the top was Ethan, born 3 years after me. The golden child. The son my parents had always wanted. Everything he did was celebrated. When he made the AAA hockey team at 12, my parents threw a party for 50 people. When he got accepted to Western University's business program, my dad bought him a BMW. Then there was me, the placeholder, the rough draft before the masterpiece. I learned early that love in our family was conditional. It was based on how little space you took up, how few demands you made, how invisible you could be. When I was 7, I won the regional spelling bee. I came home so excited, clutching my trophy. My mother was on the phone planning Ethan's birthday party, his 4th birthday party, mind you. She glanced at my trophy and said, "That's nice, sweetie. Can you go play in your room?" "Mommy's busy." I went to my room. I learned. When I was 14, I made the honor roll again, for the 5th semester in a row. I showed my report card to my father. He barely looked up from his laptop. "Good, Olivia. That's what we expect from you." Then he turned to Ethan, who had gotten a C+ in math, and said, "Hey buddy, I know math is tough. How about we go get ice cream, and I can help you study?" I learned that my achievements were expected, unremarkable. Ethan's mediocrity deserved celebration and support. By the time I was 16, I stopped expecting them at my events. When I gave the valedictorian speech at my high school graduation, I looked out into the audience and saw my grandfather cheering, Jade and her family in the front row, and 2 empty seats where my parents should have been. They were at Ethan's hockey tournament in Montreal. He didn't even play that game. He sat on the bench. But they were there. I got into U of T on a full academic scholarship. My parents' response? "Well, that's good because Ethan's going to need help with tuition at Western, and your father's business has some expenses coming up." I worked 3 part-time jobs during undergrad. I was a research assistant for the urban planning department, a barista at a campus cafe, and I tutored high school students on weekends. I lived in the cheapest student housing I could find, ate ramen most nights, and didn't go home for holidays unless specifically invited. Which wasn't often. My grandfather was the only one who checked on me regularly. Every Sunday, without fail, he'd call. How are you doing, Olivia? Are you eating enough? Do you need anything? I'm fine, Grandpa, I'd always say, even when I wasn't. Your grandmother would have been so proud of you, he'd tell me. She always said you had her spirit. Determined. Brilliant. Kind even when the world isn't kind to you. My grandmother, Eleanor, had died 2 years before I was born, but Grandpa talked about her so much, I felt like I knew her. He kept a photo of her on his mantle, a beautiful woman with my same dark hair and sharp cheekbones, standing in front of her architecture firm in the 1960s. She'd been one of the first Chinese-Canadian women to become a licensed architect in Ontario. She set up something for you, Grandpa told me once, when I was visiting him during my second year of university. Before she died, she made me promise not to tell you about it until the right time. What is it? I asked. You'll know when you need to know, he said with a mysterious smile. I didn't push. I trusted him. During my master's program, things with my family got worse. I barely heard from them, except when they needed something. My mother would text asking me to pick up party supplies because I lived closer to that nice stationery store. My father would call, asking if I could help Ethan with his business school applications, even though I had my own thesis to write. And Ethan? Ethan treated me like a built-in assistant. Liv, can you proofread my resume? Liv, can you explain this economics concept to me? Liv, can you tell Mom I can't make dinner because I'm busy? I said yes. Every time. I kept thinking that maybe if I was helpful enough, useful enough, they'd finally see me, finally love me, the way they loved Ethan. How pathetic is that? A 25-year-old woman still hoping for her parents' approval. 3 months before my thesis defense, my mother called. It was rare enough that I answered on the first ring. Olivia, we need to talk about Grandpa Robert. My stomach dropped. Is he okay? He's fine, but he's getting older. 82, you know. We think he should sell that big house in Ottawa and move into a retirement community. Your father and I have been looking at some really nice places. Have you asked Grandpa what he wants? Well, of course we're going to discuss it with him, but we wanted to give you a heads up. When he sells the house, there'll be some money. Your father's business could really use an investment right now, and Ethan's been wanting to start his own company after graduation. We'll make sure everything's divided fairly. Fairly, right. Mom, that's Grandpa's money. His house. Shouldn't he decide what to do with it? Olivia, don't be difficult. Family helps family. You understand that, don't you? I understood that family helps family only went one direction in our household. 2 months before my defense, I found out I needed emergency dental surgery, an infection that had gotten bad enough to be dangerous. The procedure would cost $3,000, and my student insurance only covered half. I called my father. Dad, I know this is a lot to ask, but I'm in a really difficult situation. Olivia, the timing is terrible. We just paid for Ethan's spring break trip to Cancun with his fraternity brothers. Can't you put it on a credit card? I'm already maxed out from textbooks and I'm sure you'll figure something out. You always do. You're resourceful like that. I ended up borrowing money from Jade's parents. I was so ashamed I could barely look them in the eye when they handed me the check. You're like a daughter to us, Jade's mom, Marie, said gently. You don't have to pay this back. Consider it an early graduation gift. I cried in their kitchen. These people, who had no obligation to me, showed me more kindness than my own parents. Which brings me to April 19th, the day my thesis defense was scheduled. I'd been preparing for this for 2 years. My research on sustainable, affordable housing in Canadian cities had already been accepted for publication in 2 major urban planning journals. My thesis advisor, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, told me it was some of the best graduate work she'd seen in her 20-year career. I sent my parents the details 6 weeks in advance. The date, the time, the location. I sent reminders. I even offered to book them a hotel room near campus. 1 week before the defense, my mother called. Olivia, about your thesis thing. My thesis defense, Mom. It's the culmination of 2 years of research. It's kind of a big deal. Yes. Well, here's the thing. Your father and I have been planning this trip for months. We're taking Ethan to the Bahamas for his graduation. He's finishing his undergrad, you know. It's a big accomplishment. I felt something crack inside my chest. My defense is on the 19th. I know, sweetie, but this trip has been booked forever. The resort is non-refundable, and Ethan really wants us there for his graduation celebration. You understand, right? You've already done your undergrad. This is Ethan's special time. Mom, I need you there. This is the most important academic moment of my life. Olivia, don't be selfish. You're 25 years old. You don't need your parents holding your hand anymore. Besides, Ethan needs us. He's nervous about starting his job search. Ethan, who had a position waiting for him at Dad's firm. Ethan, who had never worked a day for anything in his life. I'm having brain surgery. I wanted to scream, except I didn't know that yet. So you're not coming, I said flatly. We'll celebrate when we get back. We can take you to dinner or something. The keg, maybe? Your choice. The keg. They were missing the most important day of my academic career for a beach vacation, and they thought they could make it up with a chain steakhouse. Fine, I said. Have a great trip. I hung up before she could hear me cry. I called Grandpa. I told him everything. Those idiots, he muttered, which shocked me because Grandpa never cursed, never spoke ill of anyone. Olivia, I'll be there. Front row. You just try and keep me away. You don't have to drive all that way, Grandpa. I want to. Your grandmother would haunt me for eternity if I missed this. Besides, someone needs to be there to watch you make history. That made me smile, despite everything. The morning of April 19th, I woke up with the worst headache of my life. I figured it was stress. I'd been having headaches for weeks, along with occasional dizziness and nausea. I assumed it was the pressure of the defense, the late nights, the poor diet. I took 3 Advil and kept going. Jade met me at my apartment. You okay? You look pale. Just nervous. You're going to kill it. Your research is brilliant. In 2 hours, you'll be Master Olivia Chen, and we're going to celebrate with the biggest, most expensive brunch Toronto has to offer. On me. I hugged her. I love you, you know that? Love you too, babe. Now let's go show those professors what you're made of. The defense was held in the main conference room of the Urban Planning Building. About 30 people were there, my thesis committee, other graduate students, some professors who'd worked with me, Jade and her family, and Grandpa, sitting in the front row in his best suit, beaming with pride. No parents. No brother. No one from my actual family, except the one person who'd always shown up. I started my presentation. Despite the pounding in my head, I was doing well. I could see Dr. Mitchell nodding approvingly. I was about 20 minutes in, explaining the economic models I'd developed, when my vision started to blur. I gripped the podium. Sorry, I just need a moment. The room started spinning. I heard someone say my name. Then everything went sideways and I was falling, and then there was nothing but darkness. I learned later what happened next. I had a grand mal seizure right there on the conference room floor. Dr. Mitchell called 911 while Jade held my head to keep me from hurting myself. Grandpa, despite being 82, insisted on riding in the ambulance with me. The paramedics asked for my emergency contacts. Jade gave them my parents' numbers. They called my mother 16 times. 16. She finally answered and told them they were on vacation, but would try to get a flight back. They called my father 8 times. He texted back, "In Bahamas with family. Will call hospital when I can." They never called. While I was in emergency surgery, while doctors were drilling into my skull to relieve the pressure from a brain hemorrhage I didn't even know I had, my brother posted that photo. The 3 of them, champagne glasses raised, celebrating their family time. Grandpa saw it. Jade saw it. Even the nurses saw it when Jade showed them her phone, crying angry tears. I woke up 18 hours after my collapse. My head was bandaged. There were tubes in my arms, monitors beeping around me. Everything hurt. Grandpa? My voice was barely a whisper. I'm here, sweetheart. He stood up from the chair beside my bed, his eyes red-rimmed. Thank God you're awake. What happened? You had a brain hemorrhage. An arteriovenous malformation, the doctors said. You've probably had it since birth, but it ruptured during your defense. You had emergency surgery. You're going to be okay. My defense? Don't worry about that now. Dr. Mitchell already told me they're postponing it until you're well. Your research isn't going anywhere. Where's Mom? Where's Dad? Grandpa's jaw tightened. Still in the Bahamas. They're not coming? They said they'll try to get a flight in a few days. After their vacation is over. Something inside me finally, irrevocably broke. Not my heart that had been breaking in small pieces for years. This was different. This was the death of hope, the death of the little girl who kept thinking that maybe, someday, her parents would love her. I could have died, I whispered. I know. And they chose a vacation. I know. I closed my eyes. Grandpa held my hand. We didn't say anything else. What was there to say? Over the next 3 days, I had a parade of visitors. Jade came every day, bringing me books and podcasts and terrible hospital cafeteria coffee that somehow tasted better because she brought it with love. Dr. Mitchell came, assuring me my work was safe and my defense would be rescheduled. Other grad students came, bringing flowers and cards. Grandpa never left except to go to his hotel room to sleep for a few hours. He was there when I woke up, there when I fell asleep, there during the terrifying moments when I'd panic about whether my brain would work the same way after surgery. My parents? Silence. On the 3rd day, I was moved out of ICU and into a regular room. I was still weak, still healing, but the doctors said I'd make a full recovery. I'd need rest, monitoring, maybe some medications, but my brilliant brain, that my parents had never valued, was going to be fine. That's when my phone started. I'd turned it off after the surgery, unable to handle the world. When Jade finally convinced me to turn it back on, I watched the notifications flood in. 65 missed calls, 43 from my mother, 22 from my father, 37 text messages. I opened them with shaking hands. From Mom. Olivia, we need to talk. Call immediately. From Mom. Your grandfather is being completely unreasonable. Call me. From Mom. This is serious. We need you to talk some sense into him. From Dad. Olivia. Family emergency. Call now. From Dad. We need you. Answer immediately. From Ethan. Dude, your grandpa is crazy. Can you fix this? I looked at Grandpa, who was reading a newspaper in the chair beside my bed. What did you do? I asked. He looked up, his expression calm. I told them the truth, which is that I'm changing my will, that I'm selling the house, that they won't see a penny of it. My eyes widened. Grandpa, let me finish. Your grandmother and I bought that house 40 years ago. We built our life there. We also built a considerable investment portfolio. When Eleanor died, she made me promise something. He pulled out an envelope from his jacket pocket. She made me promise that you, specifically you, would be taken care of. I don't understand. Your grandmother was brilliant, Olivia. One of the smartest women I ever knew. And do you know what she told me before she died? She said, Robert, watch David and Patricia carefully. Watch how they treat their children. I have a feeling they're going to favor any sons over daughters, just like David's parents favored him over his sister. I'd never known my dad had a sister. He has a sister? Had, Emily. She died when you were 2. Your father and his parents had a falling out over her because they cut her out of the family when she came out as gay. Eleanor was furious with them. She told me, if David and Patricia have a daughter, and if they treat her the way the Chens treated Emily, promise me you'll make it right. Tears were streaming down my face. So Eleanor set up a trust fund. It's been growing for 26 years now. She left instructions that it was only to go to you, and only when you needed it most. He handed me the envelope. I think now qualifies. Inside was a letter in handwriting I'd only seen in old photos, my grandmother's elegant script. My dearest Olivia, if you're reading this, then you've faced something difficult, and your parents have failed you. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I wish I could be there to hold you myself. I never got to meet you. I died before you were born. But your grandfather has told me about you. I'm writing this letter 3 months before I pass, and already I can see the patterns forming. I can see how David looks at the ultrasound photos differently now that they know the second baby is a boy. I can hear Patricia talking about finally having the son we wanted. It breaks my heart. So I'm leaving you something. Money, yes, but more than that. I'm leaving you proof that you are seen, you are valued, and you are loved. Not for what you accomplish or how convenient you are, but simply because you exist. The money in this trust, it's from my architecture firm, my investments, my life's work. Use it however you need. Pay off debts. Further your education. Buy yourself something beautiful. Whatever brings you peace. But more importantly, know this. You owe your parents nothing. Love is not transactional. You don't have to earn it. If they've made you feel like you do, that's their failure, not yours. Be brilliant. Be fierce. Be free. With love from beyond. Your grandmother Eleanor. I sobbed. Grandpa held me while I fell apart and then put myself back together. The trust fund was worth $473,000. My grandmother, who died before I was born, had loved me more than my parents ever had. When I finally stopped crying, I asked Grandpa, "What did you tell them, Mom and Dad?" I told them that I'm selling the house and putting all the proceeds into your trust fund. I told them that my will has been changed and everything goes to you. I told them that they had a choice to make. They could be in your life on your terms, or they could be out of your life entirely. But the money? That's not theirs. It was never theirs. It's yours. They're going to be furious. They already are. That's why they're calling you. They want you to convince me to change my mind. I looked at my phone, at those 65 missed calls, and I understood. They didn't want to know if I was okay. They didn't want to apologize for missing my near-death experience for a beach vacation. They wanted money. I was a distraction when they wanted to have fun. But when they needed something, then I was family. I blocked my mother's number, then my father's, then Ethan's. "I'm done," I said to Grandpa. "I'm done trying to be enough for people who will never see me." He smiled sadly. "Good. It's about time." The next 2 weeks were quiet. I healed. I read. I talked to Jade about everything. I started seeing a therapist, one who specialized in family trauma and complex grief. I learned that I was grieving the parents I should have had, and that was okay. Dr. Mitchell rescheduled my defense for 6 weeks out. "Take your time," she said. "Your research will still be here. You're more important." Grandpa stayed with me during my recovery, sleeping on the uncomfortable pull-out couch in my tiny apartment and cooking me the same soups my grandmother used to make, following her recipe cards. 23 days after my collapse, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. My father, my mother, both of them, standing in my apartment hallway, looking older than I remembered. I didn't open the door. "Olivia," my mother called through the wood. "We know you're in there. We need to talk." "We just want to explain," my father added. Grandpa came to stand beside me. "Do you want me to send them away?" I thought about it. Part of me wanted to open the door and scream at them. Part of me wanted to let them grovel. Part of me wanted to slam the door in their faces. But mostly, I just wanted peace. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. My mother's eyes were red. My father looked uncomfortable. "Good. How are you feeling?" Mom asked. "Why are you here?" "We wanted to check on you. We were so worried when we heard what happened." "You heard 4 hours after it happened. You had 3 days to come home. You posted Instagram photos instead." My father shifted. "We made a mistake, Olivia. We should have been there. We're sorry." "Are you? Are you sorry you weren't there? Or are you sorry that Grandpa changed his will?" Silence. "That's what I thought." "Your grandfather is being unreasonable," my mother said, her voice hardening. "That house, that money, it's family money. It should be split between your father and his children equally. I am his child. You know what I mean. Split fairly. Ethan has business plans. Your father's company needs capital. You have your scholarship, your career ahead of you." "You mean the scholarship I earned while working 3 jobs? The career I built while you were spending your money on Ethan's spring breaks and hockey equipment and cars? We gave you a roof over your head, food, Education. The bare minimum. You gave me the bare minimum and acted like I should be grateful while you gave Ethan the world. That's not fair. No, I said, my voice steady. What's not fair is missing my high school graduation for Ethan's hockey game, where he didn't even play. What's not fair is telling me you couldn't help with my dental surgery while paying for Ethan's vacation. What's not fair is choosing a beach resort over your daughter's brain surgery. My mother flinched. My father looked away. Grandma Eleanor knew, I continued. She knew exactly who you were before I was even born. And she made sure I'd be okay despite you. Not because of you. Olivia, please, my father said. We're your parents. No. You're the people who raised me. There's a difference. Parents show up. Parents care. Parents don't treat one child like a burden and the other like a blessing. Your brother. My brother is a product of your parenting. And that's not his fault. But it's also not my problem anymore. I'm done. You can't be serious, my mother said. We're family. Family shows up, I said. Jade's family showed up. They paid for my dental surgery. Dr. Mitchell showed up. She rescheduled my defense and visited me in the hospital. Grandpa showed up. He drove 3 hours and slept in a hospital chair for 4 days. You showed up when you wanted money. That's not family. That's manipulation. If you turn us away, you'll regret it, my mother warned. The only thing I regret is wasting 25 years hoping you'd love me. I closed the door. I heard my mother crying in the hallway. I heard my father trying to comfort her. I heard them walk away. Grandpa put his hand on my shoulder. You okay? I will be. And I was. I rescheduled my thesis defense for June 4th. This time, I didn't invite my parents. I didn't even tell them about it. The defense was perfect. My committee passed me with highest distinction. Dr. Mitchell hugged me afterward and told me she'd be honored to write me recommendation letters for PhD programs. Grandpa was there, front row, just like he promised. Jade and her family were there. Some of my cohort was there. Even a few professors I'd worked with over the years showed up. After it was over, we went to the most expensive brunch in Toronto, Jade's treat, just like she'd promised. We ordered champagne and expensive eggs, and laughed until we cried. To Dr. Chen, Jade toasted. The smartest, strongest, most resilient person I know. Not doctor yet, I corrected. Still need the Ph.D. You'll get there, Grandpa said confidently. You're going to change the world, Olivia. I've always known it. That night, I got a text from Ethan. I'd unblocked him a few weeks earlier, curious if he'd ever reach out to actually ask if I was okay. Hey, Mom and Dad are really messed up about this whole thing. Can't you just talk to Grandpa? For the family? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, I almost died, and none of you came. I had brain surgery, and you posted vacation photos. Don't talk to me about family. You don't know what that word means. I blocked him again. A week later, I received an email from my father. I almost deleted it, but curiosity got the better of me. Olivia, your mother and I have been doing a lot of thinking. We realize we made mistakes. We want to make this right. We'd like to start family therapy if you're open to it. We'd like to rebuild our relationship. Your father. I showed it to my therapist during our next session. What do you want to do? She asked. I don't know if I believe them. How do I know this isn't just about the money? You don't. But you can set conditions, boundaries. If you decide you want to try, and that's a big if, you get to decide what that looks like. I thought about it for 3 days. Then I responded, if you're serious about therapy, you'll do it for yourselves first. Not as a tool to get me back. Not as a bargaining chip. You'll do it because you recognize you need to change, regardless of whether I'm in your life or not. If, after 6 months of individual and couples therapy, you can show me you've genuinely done the work to understand what you did wrong, we can talk about family therapy, maybe. But understand this, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me, to see if there's anything worth salvaging. And if there's not, I'm okay with that. I have family. I have Grandpa. I have Jade. I have people who love me without conditions. You have to prove you can be those people too. Olivia. I didn't hear back for 2 months. Then, in August, my mother sent me a short email. We've started therapy. Both of us, individually and together. We're working on understanding where we went wrong. We're not asking for anything from you. We just wanted you to know we're trying. Mom. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. By September, I'd used some of Grandma Eleanor's money to pay off all my student debts. I'd put a down payment on a small condo in Toronto. I'd enrolled in a PhD program at McGill University in Montreal. A fresh start, a new city, a chance to build a life completely my own. Grandpa helped me move. We drove from Toronto to Montreal in his old Volvo, my entire life packed into boxes in the back. Your grandmother would be so proud, he said as we carried boxes up to my new apartment. I wish she could see you now. I think she can, I said. Somehow, I think she always could. I settled into my new life. New research, new colleagues, new friends. I stayed close with Jade. We video called every week. Grandpa visited once a month, always bringing home-cooked meals and stories about Grandma Eleanor. In November, 8 months after my collapse, I got an email from my father. Olivia, I don't expect you to respond to this. I just need to say it. I've been in therapy for 4 months now. It's been the hardest thing I've ever done. I've had to confront a lot of ugly truths about myself, about how I was raised, about the patterns I repeated with you. My therapist asked me to make a list of every time I chose Ethan over you, every milestone I missed, every time I made you feel invisible. I couldn't finish the list. There were too many. Pages and pages of failures. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me. I don't know if I deserve forgiveness. But I want you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. I see what I took from you. I stole your childhood. I stole your sense of worth. I stole moments I can never give back. And for what? Because Ethan was easier to love? Because he reminded me of myself and you reminded me of my sister, the one I abandoned when my parents told me to choose between her and my inheritance? I was a coward then. I've been a coward your whole life. I don't expect you to trust me. I don't expect you to let me back in. But I want you to know that I'm trying to be better. Not for the money. That ship has sailed and I deserve it. Not even for a relationship with you, though I hope someday you might give me that chance. I'm trying to be better because my daughter almost died and I chose a vacation, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life. I'm sorry, Olivia. I'm so deeply, profoundly sorry. Dad. I cried when I read it. Not because I forgave him. Forgiveness was a long road and I wasn't sure I'd ever get there. But because it was the first time in my life my father had truly seen me. I saved the email. I didn't respond. Not yet. In December, Grandpa had a small health scare, nothing serious, but enough to remind us both that time was precious. I took the train home to Ottawa and spent a week taking care of him. The role reversal complete. I'm going to be around for a while yet, he assured me, as we sat in his living room, the same room where my grandmother's portrait hung above the fireplace. I need to see you graduate with your PhD. I need to see you change the world. No pressure, I joked. You don't need pressure, you just need to be yourself. That's always been enough. On Christmas Eve, I received a card in the mail. From my parents. Inside was a simple message. We love you. We're sorry. We're here when you're ready. No expectations. Mom and Dad. I put it on my fridge. A reminder that healing was possible. Not guaranteed, but possible. I spent Christmas with Grandpa in Ottawa. Jade drove up from Toronto with her family. We cooked Grandma Eleanor's recipes, told stories, laughed until we cried. This was my family, the one I'd chosen, the one that had chosen me back. As we toasted to the new year, Grandpa pulled out an old photo album. I want to show you something, he said. Inside were photos I'd never seen. My grandmother as a young woman, standing in front of her first building design. My grandmother holding baby Ethan, a complicated look on her face. My grandmother's journal entries, dated just before she died. One entry was dated 2 weeks before I was born. I won't meet my granddaughter, but I can feel her already. David called today. Disappointed, it's another girl. Patricia complained about having to go through labor again for just a daughter. My heart breaks for this child who isn't even born yet. So, I'm making a plan. Robert knows what to do. When she needs it most, she'll know she was loved. She'll know she was wanted. Even if her parents can't show her, I will. From beyond the grave if I have to. Love doesn't end with death. It transforms. And my love for her will be transformed into security, into freedom, into proof that she matters. Her name is Olivia. Beautiful Olivia. My granddaughter. My legacy. I wish I could hold her just once. I traced my grandmother's handwriting with my finger, tears streaming down my face. She loved you before you took your first breath, Grandpa said softly. Never forget that. I won't. I never will. Today, I'm 26 years old. I have a small condo that's mine. I have a PhD program that challenges and fulfills me. I have a grandfather who shows up every single time. I have a best friend who's more sister than my brother ever was. I have a trust fund from a grandmother I never met who loved me anyway. And I have parents who are trying. Maybe. Slowly. We exchange emails now. Short ones. They tell me about their therapy. I tell them about my research. We're not close. We may never be close. But the door isn't completely closed anymore. More importantly, I have myself. The version of me that survived being unloved by people who should have loved me most. The version that kept achieving despite never being celebrated. The version that almost died and decided that was the moment to start truly living. I learned something important through all of this. You can't control who loves you. You can't force people to see your worth, even if they're your parents. You can only control who you let into your life, and on what terms. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. It's about who holds your hand in the hospital. It's about who drives 3 hours because you need them. It's about who loves you on the worst days, not just the Instagram-worthy ones. My family is Grandpa Robert. It's Jade and her parents. It's Dr. Mitchell and my cohort at McGill. It's the memory of Grandma Eleanor, loving me across death itself. And that's enough. That's more than enough. If you're reading this and you see yourself in my story, if you're the child who's never been enough, the one who's always overlooked, the one who keeps trying to earn love that should be freely given, hear me when I say this. It's not you. It was never you. You are worthy of love exactly as you are. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You don't have to achieve more, be quieter, take up less space, or become invisible to deserve basic kindness and respect. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is walk away from people who can't see your value and build a life with people who can. Sometimes the family you make is better than the family you're born into. And sometimes the greatest love comes from the most unexpected places, like a grandmother you never met who loved you enough to plan for your future, or a grandfather who drove 3 hours to sit in a hospital chair because you mattered to him. Find your people. Keep your people. Love your people. And let go of anyone who makes you feel like you have to earn the right to exist. You don't. You never did. You are enough. You have always been enough. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve a place in your story. 3 months ago, my thesis was published. The dedication reads, "For Eleanor Chen, who loved me before I was born, and Robert Chen, who showed me what love actually looks like. And for everyone who has ever felt invisible, you are seen. You matter. You are enough." Last week, I got an email from a woman named Sarah. She'd read my thesis dedication and wanted to share her story about being the unfavored daughter in her family, about finding her worth, about building a chosen family. "Thank you for saying what I needed to hear," she wrote. "I'm walking away. I'm choosing me. Because you're right, I am enough." I wrote back, "We're having coffee next week." Because that's what family does. Real family. Chosen family. We show up for each other. And we remind each other, again and again, that we are worthy of love. Not someday, when we achieve more, or become better, or finally earn it. Right now, exactly as we are. That's the legacy Grandma Eleanor left me. Not just money, but truth. And it's the legacy I'll pass on. We are all enough. We always have been.